UFC Kansas City wrapped up last night, and Ian Machado Garry has come out victorious against Carlos Prates. Now, I made a video making myself look very dumb in which I predicted Carlos Prates was going to finish Ian Garry within the first 2 rounds. Obviously, that wasn't true, but what is very frustrating is that I knew the other outcome. I knew exactly that this was, and it was actually going to be my original pick, which was I was going to pick Ian Garry to just use his range, use his versatile movement, his striking, his pressure. That would mess with Carlos and stretch this out to the 5 rounds, which is what he did, and really kind of exposing gas thing. But we'll talk about in a way a couple things that made Carlos look really bad, and some things that made him look good. We'll talk about some of the good things Ian Garry did. So anyway, Anthony Smith. We're going to recap some of the other the co-main event and a couple of the other fights, not all of them. But Anthony Smith, I predicted this. I predicted that he was going to get TKO'd in front of his family. Very sad that happened, but I predicted he was going to get TKO'd in front of his family during his retirement fight. So many fighters bring their families to their retirement fight or some big fight where it's like it's almost obvious they're going to get KO'd or TKO'd. I don't know why they do it. This was one of the funniest retirement fights of all time, and it's also for what happened after. I have no idea why he started beefing with, seemed like some fat guy in the audience. Anthony Smith started beefing with, obviously Anthony Smith accuses everyone of attacking his family. Maybe that had something to do with it. Who knows? Also the send-off video. Anthony Smith, great fighter and everything, but where was Stipe's send-off video? Where was Tony Ferguson's send-off video that you should have had ready during his entire L streak, his entire losing streak? And it had Jelly Roll in it. What the fuck is going on? Where was Stipe's? You could have this elaborate send-off video for Anthony Smith, but not Stipe Miocic, or even have it ready for Tony Ferguson during his reign. Anyway, we have also, this was the most boring fight on the card. Michel Pereira versus Abus Magomedov, the most boring fight. I feel like the UFC statistics, like, there is no way Michel threw 74 shots. There's just no way he threw 100. It says total strikes 169. I didn't even see him throw 10. There's no way he landed 74. There's just no way. Anyway, yeah, I think that Michel should be cut from the UFC. I think he should be sent to the PFL. He got some clout and because of some flashy highlights against unranked opponents. How this guy ever got ranked is just really shows the terrible quality in the middleweight division. And Abus looked awful too. I don't even know what to do with Abus after this. I don't even want to see him fight in the UFC ever again either. Now let's talk about the most exciting fight on the card: Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dolby. This was a great fight. This was probably the best fight on the whole card. It's up there with, the wars between Dan Hooker, and it turned into pretty much Dan Hooker versus Dustin Poirier. They just started swinging, clipping. They were both connecting, but Randy Brown came out on top. Now Randy Brown could take on maybe a ranked opponent, someone higher in the rankings maybe. Anyway, let's talk about the main event. So Garry dominated most of the fight, as we were saying. I was very wrong about Ian Garry's vegan diet. It turns out his vegan body, his vegan diet is very durable. He took some big hits, even though, let's talk about the end of the fight in the 4th and 5th round when Carlos Prates started to come back. So we're going to talk about a couple good things that Carlos Prates did, which was that he managed to hurt Garry late in the fight. And remember, I was one of those people thinking there's no way Carlos can do anything later in the rounds. His only chances are the first 3. Maybe more so the first 2, but maybe the 3rd one. But it was the end of the 4th round where he actually hurt Garry a bit. And then in the 5th round, he could have finished the fight. But Prates' gas tank really showed, all the cigarettes, all the whiskey caught up at that moment. And you can see he should have finished that fight near the end. He really had Ian Garry on the ropes. He should have finished him. Garry, went into the fight with a very smart game plan, keeping it at distance, versatile movement, beating him with jabs, beating him with hooks, and hitting him hard. Just like, it seemed like every connection Ian Garry made a sound in those first couple rounds. And I guess Carlos's gas tank didn't look as bad as we thought, but not too good nonetheless, because he could have finished that fight near the end. And something else, Carlos Prates, we didn't see very much urgency in those first couple rounds as we did. Ian Garry never really let him get going, and there was no urgency on Carlos's side. That's why I saw people call this fight boring. This fight was not boring at all. And if you were going to call any fighter boring, it was Carlos who wasn't showing any urgency in the first couple rounds, who didn't even go for a finish. And something I thought Carlos was going to do in this fight that he didn't was throw the knees. He never really utilized the knees at all. Here we're looking at this is Ian Garry's win streak. Well, I guess one fight win streak, but his last 4 fights. And we can see even with the loss, it's very impressive, beating Geoff Neal, MVP, Carlos Prates, and losing to Shavkat via unanimous decision on very short notice. And in a fight where Shavkat didn't look very good, and more people praised Ian Garry's performance after the fight. Anyway, who do you guys think is next for both of these fighters? Ian Garry, I'm not sure where he's going to fight. Maybe the winner of Joaquin Buckley, Kamaru Usman. I think that would be a good fight. Carlos Prates, maybe he could sleep Colby Covington. I'm not sure. Tell me who you guys think should be next for these fighters. Thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe.